Hey guys, welcome back to the Dialed In Podcast. We are back with Erina and Lizane. Lizane was on the very first low equity Dialed In Podcast, so thank you so much for joining us again, Lizane. And Erina, as always, nice to have you back as well. We are still going to be calling on our low equity leads today. As always, we are sponsored by RocketBotLeads.ai. Feel free to use our affiliate code down below to get day one on market leads. Lizane, since you are kind of an OG in our community, and that's not to say that you're old, by the way. Just
oh, well,
OG.
That's more accurate than...
And because you're also on the first one of these podcasts, I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and what you're doing, and most importantly, how people can work with you if they so choose.
Okay, where I'm from. Well, like you want to go way back, New York, Miami, Florida, and I have been in Tucson, Arizona now for, I think, just over 30 years. So, and I started in SubTo. It's been about just a year and a half. I've been in SubTo, actually. Not an OG, but it feels like it sometimes.
You're an OG in my world. You've been in my world a lot longer.
And I started with low equity, and then I went into seller finance and cash deals, and then I stepped away from single family stuff, and now I am doing RV parks and businesses, local businesses in Tucson here. Yeah, so I'm looking for some fun stuff. I'm having a good time, and we just started our own RV rental company. So.
Wow.
I saw that.
Yeah.
So if someone wants to rent an RV from you, where would they go?
Well, we're in Tucson, so it would have to be here. And we just started. I had done this 5 years ago. I had my own RV rental company. So I revamped, and we are starting all over again. And we just have a little teardrop. Super cute. But we are the Great Outdoors RV rental. So you can always look at my profile and, go from there.
Did I see that you were also trying to buy a wedding venue?
I'm looking at, we're kind of combining the RV park wedding venue thing now. Looking for something that we can do both with. Mm-hmm. So, because when we were looking at wedding venues, we realized, we might need more spots for guests. So, yeah, it's kind of a combo.
Or for people who just want to elope and take RV somewhere.
Yeah.
For everybody. Mm-hmm. All right, Lizane, have you seen the movie Titanic?
Yes, multiple times.
Okay. Then you're going to know the answer to this.
Maybe.
At the end of the movie,
mm-hmm.
was there enough room on that piece of wood
yes,
for Jack to
absolutely.
Okay. Explain your answer.
Explain the answer? Why was there enough room? There was just enough room. But it's a movie, and the love story wouldn't have been as tragic and wonderful if Jack hadn't died. So
Jack was he was a smallish guy at the time too, right? He was in his 20s. He was young. He could have fit on there for sure.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Absolutely. They could have balanced.
Awesome. Well, Erina, thanks again for joining as always. Where are you located? Tell us how we can work with you.
I'm located in DFW, Dallas-Fort Worth area. You can get in contact with me through Instagram or Facebook under Erina Deckard. So my focus, I've been in SubTo for a little over a year and a half, and I've really just been learning on what I want to focus on, just learning, try not to have the, what do they call it, where you want to do everything.
Shiny object syndrome.
That one. And that's typically what I went through, but now my focus is basically senior care, senior homes, providing homes for elderly who's not quite ready to go into assisted living, and so that's my focus. My mom and I actually have a non-medical home care business that we have together. So, yeah, seeing that they need like the companion care more so, and I just thought that would be a good idea to go into that business model. So, yeah.
Now, Lizane, Erina and I have been working on this a little while, trying to figure out how exactly to position this so that it's much more enticing for agents to have conversations with her, right? They're much more likely to do business with her as a result of what it is that she's doing and the fact that she's giving back to the community. So I'm excited to see where this goes, Erina.
Thank you.
Are you an animal lover?
Not really. Not really. I have too many kids.
Those are animals too, right? Depending on the time of day and
yeah.
whether you feed them or not.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go with this anyway. Let's say that overnight you blink your eyes and you turn into one animal. Mm-hmm. What animal would that be?
Oh, let's see. I probably want to be a bird. I don't know.
Why?
It just kind of seems, I like to fly, so it kind of seems freeing and being able to see the world. I would say like a whale, but I'm afraid of the abyss, so I don't know.
I think a whale would be a good choice too. It seems like they have it relatively easy. I don't know.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Maybe. All right, guys, let's get to calling. So you guys both have the list. Lizane, you're going to start wherever you want to start. Erina, you can start wherever. I should start at the bottom just in case.
I will. Okay.
And let's see how these calls go. I've had a lot of luck, by the way, the past couple of days reaching people, so hopefully we can get on the phone consistently and not have a whole lot of blank airtime.
Okay. 98. Oop. I should mute, huh?
Yeah, why don't you mute the app, Lizane? Thanks.
Hi, Scott. This is Liz Mayer. How are you? I'm doing okay. I'm calling about a listing that you have. I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this right. Palatino Lane?
Yes.
Okay.
You did pronounce it correctly.
That's a pretty new listing right now. I have some questions about it. I was wondering, I'm looking for properties down there. My mom's down there.
Uh-huh.
And I'm kind of looking to buy them a little bit differently. I don't know if you've ever done, like a seller finance type thing, or where, you do terms where you take over loan payments, stuff like that.
Once upon a time, I can tell you, though, that this particular seller is not looking to, I don't think the seller has the most advantageous, mortgage to assume, if it is assumable, because they got it in late 23. So it's not like, the most beautiful rate, number one. But number two, she's not in a position to do any carry back, or they just want to cash out.
They just need to cash out. What are their?
Well, not need to. They don't want to fuss around with it. Part of my pre-qualification. I assume you're an agent, right?
I'm not an agent right now. I am a former agent.
Okay. Well, so I always pre-qual my sellers, and one of my questions is hey, if the buyer needs any type of assistance, are you willing to do any seller carryback or assist in any way? And the answer was emphatic no.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Do you ever wonder why?
I find more sellers are not interested in doing that.
Really? That's
right.
Okay. What are your thoughts on that? Like, why do you think people are?
They don't want to be chasing paper. Generally speaking, and this is, I'm just being candid. Generally speaking, if somebody needs carryback, it's either they're trying to leverage, somebody else's asset or money, to their advantage, or they don't have the qualifications, right?
Right.
And so that's why. And then, the seller here is, she's at a stage in her life where she does, she lives out of state and does not want to be fussing with something down here.
So this was a rental for her?
No, it was not there. It was her and her family were, they had plans to be down here, but things changed.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, gently lived in, but the seller financing would work, unfortunately.
Wouldn't work. So even if it came to the point, and the reason, I do that is I'm looking for one close to my mom. She's 87. But I also acquire around the United States. So, I was a realtor at one time, and now I'm investing. So the reason I ask about it is because I'm looking for investments, and I can't tie up, go and have a bunch of mortgages. So I'm using the money that I have, to go ahead and just purchase these in an easier manner where I can come up with the upfront money. And a lot of times I just look at stuff where there's no equity, and they're going to end up paying out of pocket, and I can help people. And the reason, let me tell you real quick, that I started doing that was because I sold my last house that way. I didn't know what it was exactly, but I did it and it worked out great for me. So I was like, oh, I can help other people, doing this too. So once I started, transferred from being an agent and started investing, I started looking at doing it that way. And it's been fantastic. I've been able to help a lot of people. I was helped out, from my house. So that's why I was calling on this one, because I was thinking from my records that they didn't have any equity and that I might be able to help them out of that situation.
Sure. Well,
Ooh, did I lose you?
you want to better present your proposal here, or hypothetical proposal. If you would put it in an email, I'll let them know, hey, I had this conversation earlier. I told them you really weren't interested, but, she brought up a few points that I thought, you should at least just listen. And if you want to deny it, fine. But if not, then maybe it's an opportunity.
And we could always be just a backup too. If they hit a point where they, something happens and they need this type of backup, we're here.
Sure. Yeah, no. So first off, do you have my email?
Well, the one I have is it's Kahara@kw.com. Is that correct?
It is, yes. And then, if you don't mind me asking,
yes, sir.
How did you determine that they don't have little or any equity?
Well, it's not always correct. I'll tell you that. But there are programs that we can pull up when you start doing investing. There are programs that you can pull up that show what the mortgage is, how much is left, how much equity they have, the percent on the mortgage. And again, nothing is perfect, but that's how I pulled it up.
Gotcha. So, and so from an investor to a broker, cutting through the fat here. So, yeah, is this particular property just something really that caught your eye because of a location or your mother, or is it just one on the list, if you wouldn't mind being honest?
Well, it is one on the list, but it also is something that I'm looking for because my mom she has Alzheimer's and I need to get closer. So I need to be able to get out there. And also stay where I'm at because my youngest, his dad is here. So I'm trying to play like a balancing thing right now. And this would help for me.
Sure. Okay, no, fair. Thanks for being candid. So send me an email. Send me what you're, what you're thinking, how the terms would work, and I'll send it over to her, and
we'll go from there.
I'll let you know either way. I'll send you their response via email so you have it for your records.
Okay, and then just so you know, in case it's not me that talks to you, I work with Mike Jackson. So you might be having some conversations with him as opposed to just me. So you know who else you might be speaking with.
As Mike Jackson, your business partner, or is that a real estate agent you work with down here?
He's my business partner. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Very good.
Okay. All right. We'll talk again soon.
Okay. Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Erina, what'd you think of Lizane's first phone call?
That was an awesome call. He was definitely what you would call like a red caller. Like he was just kind of like, no, but the way that she navigated to still get him to open up, those was kind of one of the calls where it would make me nervous and I just kind of like wouldn't know how to respond, but how she flowed and kept getting more information out and you sounded confident and comfortable. I think that made him at ease. And so, yeah, I think that was an awesome call. You got out a lot of information.
Yeah, I was surprised that he gave me that much information, honestly.
It's you, though. And this has always been your strength. You are so good at – I wrote down a bunch of words here, and they don't make sense put together in any way. It's not a sentence, but it's sort of like your tonality on the call was so good.
Yeah.
Your cadence was incredible. You were slow enough where he was able to hear you. When we aren't sure necessarily of where to go next, sometimes we speed ourselves up, right? You never do that. You're always in control, which is a really, really impressive quality, by the way. You're also really good at connecting your personal circumstance with an agent. And every time that you do that, and this is, Erina, what we've kind of been talking about a lot, right? It's we're always trying to integrate our own personal experience into it so that we don't sound robotic.
Right.
So that we don't sound like everybody else. We sound different. And you do such a good job, Lizane, of communicating why you're calling that specific agent, and then also continuing on with the conversation. You know, for example, he would have hung up the phone with you. Very
No, I was like, oh no.
yeah. But you also cut to the chase really quickly, which I love too. So after you said, you know, I'm looking to purchase seller finance or SubTo or however you phrased it, he was like, yeah, you know, my process is this. I talk to the seller. If they say no, then, you know, totally fine. That's their prerogative. But he was much more interested after you continued talking to him and after you gave him the reason why. Right, Erina?
Yeah, that was amazing how not everybody can start off the call with just like how they're looking to buy. That's usually a hang up, you know? But how you started off with it, that was amazing. That was amazing. Yeah. It's rare to see a call continue after that, especially with an agent like that.
Think about it this way, ladies. I'm kind of curious what your perspective is here, but I think the inexperienced way or the unsure way, uncertain, whatever you want to call it, is to start talking about things like, tell me about the living room, tell me about the roof, you know, as opposed to what Lizane you just did there, which was, listen, I don't want to waste your time. This is what I try to do. This is what I do on a daily basis, and I'm looking for this specific reason. Would your seller be open to something along these lines? And then what you did is you backed it up with so much value. And your value, Erina, I'm going to ask you, because what was her value? How did she position her value in a really unique way?
Just how she explained how she went through the same situation, so she was familiar with it, and she understands that there's other people going through the same situation that she went through. And so as an agent, hearing that would have made me feel more comfortable. Okay, well, she's done this transaction like this herself, and she wants to help other people. And if I, you know, with it being no equity, that's another way that I could, you know, he could partner with her to progress his career as well.
Lizane, you took a third-party story idea and you turned it into a first-person story. Mm-hmm. This is how it helped me personally on both sides of it, right? On the buy and the sell side. And beautiful.
Thank you, guys.
Beautiful
Thank you.
job. Really, really well done.
It's funny because I mean I've been doing this for, you know, I had done this. Well, I haven't, but I still get nervous. I'm like, oh, I still get nervous. So it's crazy.
It shows that you actually make calls and that you're actually doing this on a daily basis. And
Erina, she's not though. That's the crazy thing.
Are you serious? Oh my goodness!
I haven't done low equity and
since the last
how long
time
has it been?
Here.
Oh
yeah,
definitely couldn't tell. So
it's been a really long time. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, Lizane's great at these phone calls. Lizane, enough praise on you. Let's put some
Thank
praise
you.
on Erina.
Let's go.
And let's make some phone calls. Let's keep it going. Good job. Good start.
Thank you.
Erina, when you're going to make your pitch on the, you know, elder living kind of thing, co-living, think of the way that Lizane positioned her first-person story and use your mom as your example.
Got it.
I knew that if I didn't print out the property list, that I would lose it in my 72 tabs, probably more, that are open.
It's my daily struggle. Every single day, I give myself the goal of closing all of them down to restart my computer for the first time in weeks. I'm too afraid.
No, no. And you know what I love is, well, what I started doing was, because I also have multiple Gmail accounts, right? So what I started doing is taking like one of the Gmail accounts, and then I'll open a new window for one property and open all the windows that are related to that property, and then I'll open another window for that property. So, if I hover over, I can almost tell like what property each window is. It's insanity.
Mm-hmm.
But when somebody calls you back and you're like, oh, then you have to find.
That's why it's so hard to use your personal cell phone for these things,
It's like, hey, I gotta find the property. Oh no.
Hey, are you going to Squat Up, by the way?
I canceled it.
You did.
I bought my ticket, but I had to cancel.
James?
Oh, I don't have a James in the office, but I'd be happy to take a message for you.
Yeah, I'm calling about the property on 21st Avenue.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. What was your first name?
Erina.
Okay. Let me know. What's your phone number?
817-476-7949.
476-7949.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. And let him know that you called.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Arena, always ask for their cell phone number.
Okay.
Typically, the receptionist is going to give you their cell phone number. You should never have to leave a message at a primary office or a corporate
Gotcha.
office or anything.
I've called like 6 numbers. Nobody was answering at first.
It's the game we play,
Oh, yeah.
I was gonna say also, like when you get the real estate office,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times they'll send you not to the listing agent, they'll send you to a buyer's agent because they're trying to get dual representation on the property.
Got it.
So you have to be kind of adamant about I represent myself. If you're not an agent, I'm representing myself. Please send me to the listing agent.
Okay.
That was always a fight.
Yeah. I don't need someone who just got their license to help me with a creative finance transaction.
Mm-mm. I just got a friend request from Pace Jordan.
Doesn't sound like Pace. I don't think that's the right one. What is this golden ticket thing, by the way?
The golden ticket? It was fun.
No, I'm sorry. Sorry to interrupt you. I didn't mean the old one. I meant the new one that Pace is announcing. He's announcing golden ticket winners. Or is it like a same kind of thing that he was doing before?
it would probably be here in Arizona.
Yeah.
And then we'll have the team building activities, and then somebody will do a teaching, and everybody will hang out.
Got it. So it's a big thing. It's not like an intimate thing.
There were 400 people at the last one.
It's a lot.
So, yeah. I had to take a nap in my car in the middle of it.
Hi, Debbie. This is Erina Deckard. How are you today?
I'm fine.
Hi. I was calling about your property on 58th Avenue.
Yeah, how can I help you?
Yeah, I see it on the market, just listed. So I'm looking for some rentals in the area. I'm an investor, and my partners have bought a couple of houses down in that area.
Okay.
So we're looking for more. Could you tell me a little bit about the rental rates in that area?
I do not do a lot in the rentals. I can tell you, if you are familiar with the area, there's a lot of people looking for rentals because people are still displaced from the storms last year.
Oh, goodness.
So I know there's a big need for it.
Mm-hmm.
I would, based on just what I have seen, like I said, that's not my specialty, but,
Gotcha.
Because it is 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and it's pretty centrally located, I would say probably about $3,000 a month.
Okay. Is there an HOA for that area?
No HOA,
Oh, that's
no
awesome.
flood insurance required. This one,
Wow.
particular property is 41 feet above sea level.
Okay.
So that's always good. So I don't know what the evacuation zone is, but I would guess it's probably like a C or D. So it's up there.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was built in 21, so really everything in it,
Mm-hmm.
all the appliances, obviously the roof and AC, everything's only 4 years old.
Yeah. Well, what made me very attracted to this house is that what I do is I do sort of something like co-living, but for elderly.
Okay.
So I started out doing non-medical home care, and I saw a need for companion care mostly whenever we were servicing. And so the idea that we came up with, that my husband and I, is me and him, we now do like co-living for elderly who are not quite ready to go into assisted living, but with just like the companionship of staying with others around the same age.
Right.
So
That's nice.
it's awesome, and the area, and being that this is a one-story house and it has just the right amount of bedrooms and bathrooms, and the square footage, that's what attracted me to this area.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can tell you, I just saw an article this morning.
Mm-hmm.
They're building some new townhomes
Okay.
about 3 blocks away on the same avenue.
Mm-hmm.
So we're seeing a lot more new construction. Like this one is newer construction, and there's several blocks around there that are doing newer construction because there was a lot of older, smaller homes, and people are taking advantage that they can build up. So
Yeah.
I think it's kind of a good time. I mean, I know I'm the listing agent and I want to sell it, but
Mm-hmm.
investment-wise, I feel like there's going to be a lot of new construction around there, and so obviously that helps the value.
Have you gotten any offers on this one? I know it's just posted about a day ago.
No, I haven't. I have a showing tomorrow, and then I'm doing an open house on Saturday.
Oh,
I had
awesome.
a showing for today, and then they canceled last minute and said they were just going to come to the open house.
Okay.
So no, nothing yet. But I really do feel like it's a good house and good value, and like you said, if you're looking for one floor and everything, this house in particular, it would be easy to put like a ramp in the front if necessary. Because the driveway, goes right up to a pretty large front porch.
Yeah, I do see that. So, what are the sellers? Are they in the house or have they moved?
Nope, they still live there.
Okay.
They just bought a couple years ago, and honestly, they just, they can't afford it.
Okay.
And they, I don't know if you have any ability. I don't know how you're purchasing, if you're doing cash or mortgages, but they do have a VA loan on it that would probably be assumable. I'm trying to get all the information for that now. But yeah, it's a great little house.
Are they looking to buy again, or are they worried about their entitlements with the VA?
They're not looking to buy again. They're going to rent.
Okay, they're going to
So,
rent.
yeah, so that's the only,
Oh, awesome.
signature. Yeah, so
Well, that's a good thing. It makes it kind of easier on your part, for sure.
It does, and they, I think their rate, they didn't buy it when it was like 3% or anything, but
Yeah.
it's, I think, 5.7 or 5.6, so better than they are right now, more than a point lower. So it would make a huge difference, with the payment.
Okay, yeah, because I'm looking at, I did a little research on it, and I see where they were either going to break even or walk away having to pay for it into the, because they didn't have any equity. Is that the case?
Yeah. So, we're listed pretty much at the top of the market, and they really don't have much wiggle room.
No wiggle room. Okay.
And it's unfortunate, but yeah, they when they bought, they overpaid.
Yeah.
I was not their agent.
Yeah. And around that
they-
time, a lot of people did. It's unfortunate.
I know, but they just can't afford to stay there, and so they need to, get out. So
Yeah.
I can say they're highly motivated, but
Okay.
I can also say there's not a lot of wiggle room, and you did your homework, so you
Yeah.
can see that.
Well, one way, because we typically, how we try to scale, we don't want to have to keep going to get loans. Would they be open to, are you familiar with, like if we were to take over the payments, keeping the mortgage in place? And that way we would make sure that they would walk away with at least something and pay your commission and closing costs as well. Just so they can walk away with something, to be a win-win on both sides.
I don't really. I've never done that. I don't really know how that works.
Gotcha.
If you're taking over, are you talking about just taking over the payments?
Yeah, like keeping the mortgage in place, in their name, and of course we would, keep everything in their name. We would take over the payments, right, monthly.
Right.
Of course, everything goes through title, so everything, within the contracts. Is there any? I know you said you're not familiar with it. Are there any hesitations that you have if you were to present this to them? Any questions that you may have?
Well, like I said, I'm just not familiar with that. I don't think they would want to keep the name in their home. I think or the home in their name. I think they would just kind of want to wash their hands of it.
Yeah.
And if they did, what I would tell them is, it would, still be on their credit. So if they were trying to go out there and even rent, it might show up, if somebody wants to know their debt to credit ratio, they would probably have to, it's almost like they'd have to show them, it almost sounds like a rental.
Yeah. And we have it to where we would be able to show that as like those payments are being made, to where it wouldn't affect them, getting a rental. The benefits of it is their credit would not be affected because we would make the payments monthly, which would be a plus to them. And we do go through like a third-party servicing company where they would be notified every month that we made the payment. And then, of course, we can put things in place that would protect both me and the seller, right?
Right.
If I were to default on the loan, and it would just be up to them of what clause they would want to have. Like it could come back to them, or we would have to sell it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have to present that to them.
Yeah.
Like I said, and I would have to do a little homework. And I'm just being honest with you. I mean, I've been in real estate 10 years, but I've never, I've had people like want to rent to own, which it kind of sounds like that. But for them to have, to keep the house in their name, I just don't think that they would be interested in that. But I don't want to answer for them.
Right. Well, yeah, it's a model that's really it's becoming actually very popular, being that the interest rates have gone up, and just the hassle of going through loans. I know a lot of investors have been doing that lately, but we have experience in it. If you need me, what I can do is I can send you an email, just kind of a breakdown that you can present to them, just breaking it down more of what the deal would entail, and the benefits being that they would walk away with at least cash in their pocket. Instead of having to pay the closing costs and your commission, we would of course handle that. And that's the benefit of that for them. So that they can, they'll have the funds to go and get a rental. Of course, are they behind in any arrears or anything with the property? Are they behind?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I think there is some taxes owed because there wasn't enough held in escrow. But other than that, it's probably a small amount.
Okay, gotcha. Well, definitely. I can tell you have experience, and a lot of agents, because they're not familiar with it, they'll just shut it down. So I do appreciate you just being open to presenting it to them. But I'll definitely send it out to you. Just a breakdown, of course, of what it would entail for them and the benefits of it, and of course how we would protect both sides.
Sure, and I'm open to that. If you want to send it to my email, and do you have my email or do you need that?
The email that I have is debbiewatts.kwrealty@gmail.com.
That's correct.
That's correct. Okay, yeah. So yeah, I'll send that out to you today. And then if you have any questions, or if they have any questions, you can just reach out to this number or my business number if you want to write it down, or I can just email you with the information.
Yeah, just email it. That would be perfect.
Awesome. Well, Debbie, do you have any other properties that you represent that would kind of fit that model, that they probably be open to that?
No, the only two things I have right now are both condos, and
Gotcha.
I don't think those would work.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you, Debbie, for your time, and I'll definitely get that out to you, and we'll be in contact, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, bye.
I thought I was muted there for a sec. Lizane, what did you think of Erina's phone call?
I thought it was really good. Some of the things I was like, trying to get in there. She was dropping some crumbs that I think you could have jumped on faster.
Okay.
I think presenting what you were doing a little bit quicker. You waited a long time before you started talking about what you were trying to do.
Okay.
Because she dropped a few things that you could have immediately gotten in there. But again, that's my personality. I like to get to the point. Not everybody's that way, so I'm sure there's like some equal balance. That's probably the best out there.
Yeah.
There were go ahead.
Sorry.
Oh, I was trying to take notes of things that I was thinking as she was talking, so I wouldn't. One of the things with with assuming VA loans is that they can take like 6 months, right? And you're looking to open this home, like people are needing this home. Is there a way that maybe we could speed this up? That's what I was thinking. If there was a way that I could make this happen faster, with an informal assumption is a word I like to use. It's not, I think I heard that from Ingrid Hernandez, an informal assumption.
Okay.
And there's different ways we can structure that, as opposed to trying to give her every way you're going to protect them. And, because it was like a whole education. I used to do this too. So I was like, okay, well, we can do this, right? We can do this, we can do this, we can do this, and this, and this is how we'll set it up, and this is how we're going to protect them, and and they're like, whoa,
Yeah.
right? What? So now I just lighten it up, and I let go of that. This is how we're going to do it,
Right.
and just say, if there's different ways we can protect them, in this, and we can, all get on a phone call or a Zoom, and discuss the different ways.
Gotcha.
And then you could figure out exactly what direction you're going to take, because it doesn't have to be SubTo. I like to use seller finance a lot, just because I find that agents,
seller finance, right?
right, the term, because they can wrap their head around that. An agent, who doesn't know better can wrap their head around that. And even if I say, well, it's a seller finance, but we're going to make sure that we cover their payment that they have in place right now, 100%.
Okay.
So if we make sure that that's paid with their taxes and everything every month,
Gotcha.
there's just different ways we can do it. We could do mirror wraps, seller finance. Seller finance, they seem to understand easier.
Okay.
So yeah, that was it. She was a good agent though, because she's like, well, it's not me to say that they're not open. And I was like, she's a good agent.
So, Erina, I'm so glad that you had this phone call with Lizane here, because I think that that's a perfect example to build off of.
Yeah.
And Lizane's exactly right. I wrote down the same thing. I said, cut to the chase.
Mm-hmm.
I think what was really interesting about that phone call is her personality changed when you communicated to her exactly what it is that you do.
Mm-hmm.
It was different, right?
It did.
She picked up the phone. How can I help you? Kind of pissy a little bit, like, why are you calling me?
Mm-hmm.
Then you told her what you do, and her personality changed entirely.
Yeah.
And Erina sounds very professional when she's talking.
Very.
She is a pro.
Very.
This is what she does, you know? So, yeah.
Exactly. So the VA loan assumable was that was like one of those little breadcrumbs that she kind of threw out there for you.
Mm-hmm.
And Lizane hammered that perfectly. You know, hey, instead of doing something like this, which might take 30, 60, maybe even 180 days plus, we've seen them take forever, you know, would the seller be interested in something along these lines?
Gotcha.
And then, you know, if you went that direction, her response was going to be the same thing that she gave you, which was, I've never done something like that.
Yeah.
At that point, what I would do is I would just kind of stop. I would think of that as kind of like a wall that I don't want to necessarily penetrate at this point.
Yeah.
But what I do want to do is think of what are the pain points that the seller is experiencing right now. In this case, it's a low equity. They're going to rent. They're not going to buy. They're open to assuming. And you could drop that line, which is just, you don't even have to go down the dialogue part of it. It's just, it's crazy. You know, we've seen those things take 3, 6, sometimes, 9 months or so.
Okay.
You know, what are you guys seeing in your market? You know, you don't even have to like say, oh, are the sellers willing to wait 3, 6, or 9 months? You know?
Yeah.
Simplify the process. You don't, like Lizane said, you don't have to go through the clauses. You don't have to go through these things.
Right.
That wall that I was talking about, though, that's your opportunity to say, look, let's pull back for a sec. Let me explain to you how this could possibly work. I know that you're brand new to it. We work with a lot of agents who have never done something like this before.
Okay.
And, whether it works for this or it works for a listing that you have in the future, let me explain to you how it could possibly benefit your sellers here. And just use me as a resource.
Okay.
And at that point, what you do is on the next phone call, that's going to give you an opportunity to dive into some of the details, not all of them at once, right?
Right.
Pick one.
Okay.
And maybe talk about what you think their biggest concern is based on the previous conversation,
Okay.
right? And to me, it sounded like, well, they just don't want their name on the loan still. They want to, not have that kind of responsibility, not having that sort of thing hang out there.
Gotcha.
Right. Lizane, did you pick up on the same thing as the primary objection?
I don't know if it's actually the seller's objection, but I think it was the agent's concern
Yeah.
is what it was. Yeah. And she was just like, ooh, wait, the name stays on the loan. How does that work?
Gotcha.
And it's
Kind of like a
100%
rental.
valid, right? She's never been through it. She doesn't understand it. She doesn't know how they're structured. So you're going to have to hold her hand along the way. And I love those types of relationships because if I know that an agent is not saying no, but they're somewhat open to learning,
Yeah.
that gives me an opportunity to educate them and show them at least what I know, and maybe we can find a way to do something together. So
Got it.
what I would do is if I were to restructure that phone call for you,
Okay.
and Lizane, give me your feedback on this. I would cut to the chase,
Okay.
right? I would just say, hey, Lizane, my name is Erina. I saw this listing that you have at 123 Main Street. Here's what I do, and here's how we purchase. Have you ever done something like that before? Or what is your experience doing something like that before?
Okay.
Right? Ask an open-ended question, something along those lines.
Okay.
Lizane, what do you think?
I think it, again, I don't think it works for everybody. I think it just, you have to kind of find your own grounds to where you come in, but I just think you just have to figure out for yourself how to come in. But I really would absolutely open with, hey, this is who I am and this is what I do, for sure. Because I mean, it really just sets the tone, and the way that you speak, that again, it's so professional. So that will set the tone for the whole conversation, because immediately you command respect, right? This is my business. And then they are speaking to you as, oh, this is a professional that I'm talking to, right? So I would use that, as your main leaning ground, right? And then, go ahead into, and I'm buying multiple houses because of, this is what I do, and this is how I do it because I'm buying multiple houses, right? It makes sense for me to buy it this way.
Okay.
So yeah.
So, Erina, I don't want to keep hammering on this because I don't want you to feel like we're hammering on you, by the way.
Give it to me. Give it to me.
Okay.
It's helping.
So this didn't happen on this phone call, but I've seen it happen on my own phone calls.
Okay.
And I've probably seen it happen on Lizane's phone calls before she got really, really good. Because it just happens to everybody. What happens is when you're on the phone with an agent and you're kind of going back and forth about the BS
Yeah.
stuff, right? What's the rental rate? Tell me about the plumbing. Tell me about all of these things that don't necessarily matter to the reason why you're calling. When you transition, you have to make sure that you transition perfectly to the point that all of the questions you've brought up before are pertinent to the continuing conversation. And if you don't do that effectively, red flags are going to raise on the agent's part. They're going to be like, wait, hold on a second. I thought that you wanted to do co-living, or I thought that you wanted to rent it out to a single family. Now you're talking about co-living, for
Gotcha.
example. So I think it's really easy to keep everything congruent.
Oh, I gotcha.
If you start from the very beginning saying, hey, Lizane, my name is Erina. This is what I do, and this is why I'm potentially interested in the property that I'm taking a look at right now on Zillow.
Right.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense? I think that if you streamline that, like it's 30 seconds, maybe 40 seconds. And if you streamline that, the rest of the conversation is going to be so much smoother.
And it's going to be so much easier, for you,
Yep.
because that's your star right there.
Yeah. Okay. Because there is a clash if I'm asking that and then going into that. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. I've gotten myself caught so many times. Lizane's seen this live. Where I get myself caught talking about, I want to do this, and then all of a sudden I'm switching to something else.
Right. Well, that kind of happened in my conversation too, because he's like, "Well, is this really for you?" So,
Yeah.
Wow.
yeah.
The congruence needs to stay there. You sound so professional on the phone that if you just clean up those couple of things, it's that. Oh, that's what I was going to say. This is where that bulldog inside of you might actually harm you, right? It's like, let's put that bulldog on a leash a little bit. I hate the analogy, sorry. But, what you don't want to do is hammer so much on the first phone call. Think of that first phone call as the exploratory. Let's see kind of where they're at.
Gotcha.
And then think about how you can pivot that next conversation or how you can position that next conversation to be the real value add,
I have a question, or just thought of something. So on the VA loans that they have them and they're assumable, and the people are hesitant, how would coming in with, well, it takes a really long time. I'm needing to acquire this now. If we did a lease purchase agreement or what were our other options, Mike? Until we can see, if the assumable rate, we can go ahead and look at that. But in the upfront, would they be opening to doing this so I can acquire the home?
So are you talking about, let's see how long the process of assuming it's actually going to take?
Well, it's kind of to push the assuming off to the side. So we want to acquire the property, right? So, we need this property now. I don't want to really wait for that time frame. I can't wait. I need it now. In the meantime, or kind of in the meantime, but until we see if the assumable VA loan thing will work for us, would they be opening to doing a lease purchase agreement or a lease option agreement in the meantime?
Yeah, those are the two that I would consider right there.
So is that a good thing when people say, but it's assumable? Yeah, but I don't have the time.
What I would do
for that.
It's actually where Erina kind of took it. You were asking, are they still in the home, right? And I kind of thought that that's where your brain was going, because one thing what I would do at that point is I'd say something like, we're seeing these things take a really long time, like 3 or 6 months sometimes. Then what's crazy, I would tell this story, what's crazy is we had this buyer try to buy a house from a friend of ours who was also a VA. They tried to assume it, and after 6 months, they just declined it. And so that meant that the seller was putting the property back on the market, right? It's that kind of third-party story of that pain, and you just kind of leave that there. Push that aside. That's an easier transition into, just out of curiosity, what is the seller's situation? Are they living there? Do they want to sell this ASAP, or what's going on?
Gotcha.
Did that make sense, Lizane? with regard
Yes.
to what you were asking?
Yes.
You want to apply pressure and then pivot it into a question like, what is the seller's ideal time to sell?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And Erina, I didn't want to go back from something that Mike had said earlier about, us learning.
Yes.
I learned by getting, like for hours and hours, I would sit and listen to Mike's calls, his recorded calls. That's how I learned. So
Definitely listening to the other dialed-ins and other things that he's done. That's why I have all my notes. I kind of just try to build upon it every time I'm making calls. So yeah,
It's all about reps.
because I'm just not learning about how you would work like the VA and all of that. I've been learning that since I've been making calls, and so that's valuable information on how to pivot that.
this is nice. Way back when, we used to be like, oh, let's wait 90 days until they're hurting or, whatever before we pull when you're pulling the list, let's, don't pull anything that hasn't been on market 90 days or less because now they have pain. But this is so nice because it's crisp and it's clean. It's new to the market and you have the first opportunity to speak, to these agents. And it's really nice. It makes a difference. I like it.
It does.
And you also build that impression really early on. Mm-hmm. You can position yourself against every other person who's going to make that phone call after you, either on day 14, 21, or 90.
Yeah.
And you want to set the tone. And you want to say, look, I am the expert here in the situation. And if you decide to go down this route, regardless of whether you choose me or not, I want to make sure that you do it correctly and make sure to use me as a resource.
Mm-hmm.
So we have time for about one more phone call. Lizane, would you mind both of you guys try to get on a phone call? We'll take just the next call.
Okay. I've got a child who's starting to get antsy, so I will do my
Tell
best
Chester
here.
we say hi.
Oh, well, I'm surprised he was here, but he didn't quite get in front of the camera. I'm going to try my hometown. Let me mute. Okay, I want you to hear this so you could see what you would press for this call.
Reached homecoin.com. If you are a buyer or tenant interested in a property, press 1. If you are a real estate professional with a question on a property, press 2.
So we're going to
If
press
you need
2.
assistance with a HomeCoin product or service, press 3. Select from the following menu to ask a question or schedule a showing. To connect you with the showing contact, we'll need to find the property. Search by street number, press 1. To search by zip code, press 2.
Lizane, that's a flat fee
Please enter
listing
the
service, I
street
think.
number.
Is it?
I think so. What's the company called?
Please enter the street number.
Homecoin.com?
Let's see.
Enter the street number.
Yeah, that's a flat fee listing
You
service.
entered 44428.
Hang up.
If the address is
That's what you get for $100.
It's Arizona. I'll send you that one so you know which one it is. Okay.
Hello, James.
Yes.
Hi, thank you for calling me back. This is Erina.
Oh, hi, Elena.
Hi, I was calling about your property that you have listed on 21st Avenue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see that it just listed. Is now a good time to talk?
Sure.
Okay, awesome. So just to tell you a little bit about me, what I'm looking for are properties. We pretty much cater to elderly living. That's something that attracted me to this home. It seems the perfect size, bedroom, bathrooms, and everything. So essentially what I do is I started off in non-medical home care where I would provide companionship services to elderly. So the pivot has been now I'm doing co-living, but for elderly who's not ready to go into assisted living, but just want that companionship of living with others around their age. Yeah, and so this property is a beautiful property, by the way, and it's in the area that we were looking to invest in. So, yeah, could you tell me a little bit about the area?
Yeah, so, are you familiar with Sacramento?
Yeah, I have a lot of family out there, and I have a partner who stays out that way as well.
Okay. So this area is kind of on the border of a revitalizing area.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a park area. It's, it's a really good rental market.
Okay.
Might be, the owner has it, but he kind of ran into some money issues with his business, so he needs to sell it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, if you kind of rate the classes, like your A neighborhoods, like your very high-end neighborhoods, B neighborhoods,
Mm-hmm.
it's more like a C class,
Okay.
but kind of borders some G class, but it's getting better, over the years, so it's,
Gotcha.
yeah, so it's definitely a good area to invest in.
Yeah. Are the sellers in the home, or have they moved?
No, there's tenants actually living in the home right now.
Tenants? Oh, okay. And so are they the tenants are their leases going to be up, or
It's month to month right now.
okay?
They'd like to stay, but the seller,
I know you said they ran into some financial issues with the business, so they're just looking to get rid of the property because is it a problem with the tenants?
no problem with the tenant's actually great.
Okay.
He just needs to sell and didn't want to have to kick the tenant out
Gotcha.
and wait however long it takes.
Gotcha.
Typically it's about 60 days. California.
Yeah. So. Yeah, so how we typically try to buy is with keeping the mortgage in place, which would help out the sellers. I do see that they have just a little equity in the home. And so we would come in and we would like to just take over the mortgage, keep it in place. Is that something that your seller would be interested in?
So like a subject to.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm very familiar. I haven't really discussed that with him.
Uh-huh.
Not sure that he would be open to it,
Okay.
but I can definitely have that conversation with him.
Oh, yeah, sounds like you're familiar with it. Have you done some deals like that before?
I have,
Oh, okay, awesome. Is that something that you see a lot out there in that area in Sacramento?
Yeah, I mean, there's some that I know of.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Well, I'm glad to be talking to an agent who's knowledgeable about it. That shows that you know what you're doing. Awesome. But yeah, that's how we because of how we try to scale, it wouldn't make any sense for us to go to a bank to be, to get loans and everything to have to purchase. And so, yeah, that's one of the ways that we're interested in purchasing. If your seller would be interested in that, then we would make sure that, of course, your commissions is paid and we'll pay the closing costs as well. Do you know what they're looking to walk away with? If we were to go that route, to give me just an idea of where to start?
Yeah, obviously, I mean, him being my client,
Yeah.
he wants to walk away with as much as possible.
Okay.
And to be honest, we're priced probably 10 to 15% below market.
Gotcha.
Getting a lot of. We already have one offer in. We're expecting to get several,
Okay.
and probably going to end up reviewing kind of best case
Gotcha.
sometime next Tuesday.
Okay.
But so
Well, I do.
for what you're trying to do,
Mhm.
yeah, it's probably not going to pan out. You know, especially if you want to be at that price
Mhm.
or less than that.
Yeah, I know that you said that y'all are kind of listed below. In the event, which I do hope that your seller gets the price that he's wanting, but in the event that that doesn't happen, yeah, just keep me in your back pocket just as a resource to fall back on later down the line, so that he can we can pay out, try to pay out what he's looking to walk away with.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah. Do you have any other properties?
Typically do.
Uh-huh.
As far as how much down payment and stuff like that. I mean, there are properties I know that sellers would be willing to do that.
Okay.
Subject to you.
Yeah.
A lot of them tend to have a lot of equity, right? So they're willing to discount, but you're still going to be like 20% or more down.
Gotcha. Okay, you have properties like that now?
I know of one or two that are available right now
Okay.
that I don't have agreement with.
Okay.
For some other sources of mine. But
Well, yeah.
investors too. So.
Oh, that's awesome that you even offer that to your clients. That's a huge plus on your side. But yeah, so I know that you said that you would bring it to your seller if in the future that he's willing to do that. Feel free to reach out to me, or if you have any other properties. This is my number, and the other number that you call is my business number as well. You can just reach out to me then, and I'll look forward to working with you.
Yeah, so this seller in particular, I do have two other properties too that want to become.
Oh, awesome. Can I text you over my email address? Could you send them over to me?
Sure.
Awesome. Well, I do thank you for your time, James, and I look forward to speaking with you again.
All right.
Awesome.
Okay.
Bye. I kind of feel like I rushed him off the phone.
Yeah, I think you wanted off the phone. He was hard to talk to.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mike.
That was, I don't know how I feel about that one.
Well, let's talk about it for
Okay.
a sec, right? Because I think that night and day difference in your intro between the last call and this call, positively, right?
Okay.
Night and day. Lizane, what are your thoughts on Erina's call?
Well, I had put, this guy's a tough one to talk to. Like he was like not given anything. Although, it was interesting because with how professional she is, he didn't care.
Yeah.
I felt like he didn't even care about the property. He didn't even want this listing. That was the feeling I got from him. He's like, it's garbage. He might as well just been like, this place is a dump. It's garbage. I'm embarrassed to be the realtor on this. That's the feeling I got
Yeah.
from him, right? But he knows these other ones though, right? And he's done SubTo. So at that point, I would have been like, all right, well, let's talk about the other ones. I didn't know if he was saying somebody else had those listings or they were pocket listings. I wasn't
about him. He didn't have them under contract or anything.
But was it somebody else that has them under contract? I couldn't quite understand what he was trying to say.
He was just saying he know of some properties that he think that they would be open to it.
But who
Yeah.
has them, right? So I would have gone after those at that point, and be like, okay, well, let's try to work together on that then,
Okay.
and close them, and let's see if we can close all three of these. And then the other thing I was thinking too was, when he was saying the asking price, I would have been more like, okay, well, I know you have these offers coming in, but we can come closer to the asking price because we're doing it this way.
Gotcha.
It frees us up.
Okay.
It frees us up to give them what they need, because their interest rate is great or whatever, so on and so forth. And so don't worry about that. Like, we got that covered.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's it for me.
Erina, he was a tough nut to crack. Really, really tough. Wasn't on you. I don't think anyone could have done anything any differently that would make him want to talk more.
Yeah.
What I found really interesting about him is that he didn't really even give you a reason why the sellers wouldn't be open to something like that. He was assuming,
Yeah.
right? He was doing a lot of assuming there. He didn't give any reasons. He also has never had that conversation with the seller. So, imagine me as a broker just assuming something for the seller and not bringing it to them. They
Yeah.
might really want something like that. Who knows? You don't know until you present it,
Yeah.
right? So what I would do in that situation is absolutely send over either some information, an LOI, an offer, whatever you choose to do,
Okay.
and then just have that follow-up conversation. I like how you positioned it as in, hey, this may not work for the seller, but I do want to work with you on other properties. So that was fantastic how you positioned that.
Okay.
Let's see, what did I write down here? So I always like to ask if an agent says that the sellers wouldn't be open to something like that, I always ask the question, what do you think the seller's concern would be? And then write that down. That's going to give you a lot of really good information. Okay, so this is kind of a funny one. You might want to be a little bit, and this is kind of a joke. So
Okay.
you might want to be careful when you say that you offer companionship services.
I didn't think about that. But that's exactly what it's called. Oh my goodness. Okay. Gotcha.
You just made me choke on my coffee.
Especially companionship services for elderly people.
I forgot its dual meaning.
Woo, 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 woo. And I make really good money.
Yeah.
Luckily it's in California, not in Florida, so you know.
There you go. There you go.
Wow.
But other than that, fantastic call.
That is hilarious.
It was really, really good.
I did see the benefit of just getting to the point with that. I did like that. It was just kind of like I
It's
feel like
it's
that kinda-
freeing, right?
Yeah, it kind of opened him up. I think he would have been more closed off had I dragged it out as I did the first call. So that was awesome. And I didn't even see we had a chat here. Oh gosh.
It's okay.
All right, guys, let's close it up. I got to hop into something else. Both of you guys, would you guys mind just keeping this tab open for a little while after I press stop recording? You can mute, you
Yes.
can do whatever. I just want to make sure it processes. As always, thank you guys so much
you.
for attending.
You're welcome,
Appreciate
Mike.
what
Thank
you're
you for
doing.
having us.
Thank you.
Anytime. You guys are always welcome. We'll talk to you guys later.